We're back out here once again, and today we're talking about some November baits I'm using right now that those bass just can't stop smashing. You don't want to miss this one. Stick around. Here we go. That's another one. That's another good one. Come on, buddy. Yeah, come on. Yeah, it's a good fish right there. Oh, that's a good fish. That's a nice fish. And here is this video's featured comment. Congratulations! If you would like to have a chance to have your comment featured in an upcoming video, all you've got to do is leave a comment. And now, on with the video. Welcome back to Lowbrow Fishing. And now that we're in the month of November, those bass all across the country are moving into what we call their winter pattern. Now, what do we mean when we say that? Well, we mean those bass are pushing up shallow and they're looking to relate to hard cover and structure, especially the kind that absorbs a lot of sunlight so it can radiate that warmth back out into the water. Something like your boat ramp, chunk rock, riprap bank, chunks of concrete that are in the water, even dark timber such as a laydown or the pilings on a pier. Anything that can absorb that sunlight and radiate that warmth back out into the water, you're going to find huge schools of not only bass, but their prey species as well. Now that means that 90 to 95% of your lake is probably going to be dead water. That's why when you go out in the cold weather and you head to your normal stomping grounds and there's nothing there. But if you can find those large schools of fish, well, it's essentially game on. And we have several presentations and baits at our disposal that we can use to catch piles and piles of bass all day long. Now, it depends on the conditions. It depends, as always, on what I'm seeing when I head out to the water. If I've got light cloud cover, bluebird skies, and maybe just a gentle bit of wind and some light wind-driven current, I'm going with something like this. And this is just a small 3.5-inch The Mayor from Rapala Crush City. This is in that green pumpkin magic color, and I've got it obviously on a small 1/4 ounce flipping jig that I've taken the skirt off. And before I get too far into this, I want to thank everyone for all the support you guys have shown my online store over at diamondbackbaits.myshopify.com. The response has been overwhelming. I'm getting emails every day about how you guys love these jigs and how you guys are catching really nice fish on them. So head on over to my store. There's going to be a link in the pinned comment as well as the description. Check out the jigs that we have. I'm sure you guys are really going to like them. But these guys right here, it doesn't have to be on a jig. It can be a normal swim bait head. That works just as well. But these work in that calmer water, It's also what I was throwing around. I was throwing around just a white rage swimmer the other day on the same thing. And this is my normal swim bait setup. I've got 10-pound braid. I've got a 7-foot medium heavy rod because sometimes I want to be able to cast a 3/8 or 1/2. Even though most of the time I'm only using a 1/4, it still works very well. This is what's been catching a lot of those fish for me. And I'm fishing it, as I said, I'm fishing it more up shallow, near that cover, near that structure. And I'm getting a lot of bites, but I'm also getting more than one bite in the same area. And I can move away, come back a couple hours later, and that area has repopulated and I'm able to get even more fish off of that. Now, the next thing, obviously, I got to talk about is, well, a hard jerk bait, right? And this is my new toy. This is a 6th Sense Provoke. And this is just in a little shad pattern. I don't know exactly what the name of it is, but man, this thing's got some sticky, sharp hooks. This is my newest toy. I haven't tried one of these before. I wanted to give it a try. And, well, on the very first cast that I tied that thing on with, I caught my PB crappie. Not necessarily what I was going for, but I will definitely take it. It seems like if I want to fish for panfish, I catch panfish. If I want to catch bass, I catch bass. If I want to fish for crappie, I catch bass or panfish. It's really strange like that, but I did happen to catch that crappie. It was my biggest crappie ever on this jerkbait. And I caught a couple other nice bass. I tied it back on and the wind started to pick up. I mean, it really started to pick up, and we started to get some more cloud cover blowing in.
Oh, there we go. That's actually a good one. Holy cow. Wow, he hit it like a ton. Oh my goodness. Come on, buddy. Stay down. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he went for that front hook, which means he was going for it. It's a nice little pound, not quite pound and a quarter bass. Beautiful. On that new little jerkbait. All right, dude. I sure do appreciate it. Thank you. And there he goes. All right, let's go catch some more.
So this worked very well, very quickly. I caught a couple fish on it, and then this kind of died off as the sun started to clear up. But even though the wind started to go even more and more, it was going 15, 20, 25 miles an hour. So something like a small swim bait really wasn't going to be an option, and something like finesse definitely wasn't going to be an option. So I changed things out. I kept with a jerkbait, and I started throwing this Yozuri around, changing the color up. Thought maybe the white would give me a little bit more flash under the water without having to go something chrome. And this is my normal jerkbait setup, which is different from everybody else, I know. I've got 10-pound braid on a 7-foot medium power rod. This is what I throw. If you like to throw a jerkbait on a bait caster, that's fine. I do this because this is what works well for me. Use what works best for you. But right after I tied that Yozuri on, first couple of casts, I was already into another school of nice fish.
Making passes through here pretty quickly. I mean, the wind is probably 20 to 25 miles an hour at this point. And my dumb butt's out here in it in this little plastic boat, smaller than most people's bathtubs. Oh, there we go. That's another one. That's another good one. Come on, buddy. Yeah, that's, ooh, come on. Yeah, it's a good fish right there. Oh, that's a good fish. That's a nice fish. He had another one with him. Look at that. All right. I don't think I need to change up to a spinnerbait at all. They are crushing this jerkbait. Where did I put my wire pliers? There's where I put my wire pliers. All right, let me see if I can get you free. It's the same exact way as the last guy had it. All right. Ooh. Come on now. Pound and a quarter. Beautiful fish. Beautiful fish. They've been hitting it all day. All right. Thank you, buddy. There you go.
So swim baits when it's calm, jerk baits whenever we start to get some wind and some cover. But there's another bait that I like to use and almost interchange it with jerk baits a lot of times whenever I want a completely different type of presentation. And that's going to be a spinnerbait. A spinnerbait is known for working the fall months. As those bass, like we said, move up toward that hard structure, you can parallel the bank, or if you're fishing from the bank, you can make casts out to the end of that structure and then bring it back to you. And a spinnerbait is just great for that, especially as we have those windier, cloudier days. Those are the types of days that a spinnerbait was made for. If I've got a lot of wind, I've got some wind-driven current, but I've got some sunshine, obviously I'm going to go with a white color. But if I've got some stain in the water, or maybe I have just a little bit of cloud cover, not a whole lot, I'll go with something like this. And I like these bronze double willow blades. This is something that works well in my fishery. Now, a tandem blade with a Colorado blade and a willow blade will work great too. But for me, I really like these double willow blades. I like these bronze colored, brass colored, whatever you want to call them. I like these blades much better under those conditions because the bass in my fishery just seem to respond to it. But like I said, if I've got some wind, I've got some current, then obviously I want to go with this white color. I want to use something like this because that's what's going to get those bites. That's what's going to attract those bass, especially from a distance. Now remember, they're all going to be grouped up in those smaller areas. So you don't necessarily have to throw it down in their face, especially if you can get them from 10, 15 yards or whatever away. A lot of times they're going to be in a biting mood and they'll be able to chase your bait down. I've had that happen on several instances. So just because it's windy, just because it's cold, just because it's cloudy, doesn't mean that those bass aren't going to be biting. We have great ways of using those situations, using those conditions to be able to catch those bass. We can go from calm and sunny, and we can go from super windy to super cloudy when that wind is driving that current and churning up that water. A swim bait is great when it's calm, a jerk bait whenever you start to get a little bit of wind, and then when you really get a lot of wind and you really get a lot of current, a spinner bait is perfect for those situations. So try those baits out. I'm telling you, they were made for this time of year, especially now that those bass are really stacked up near the bank. So there you have it. Some easy to use presentations that are sure to work wherever you find those bass stacked up during the month of November. Right now is an amazing time to fish, and when you find those schools of bass and you use those baits, you can have great days out in the water. Give it a try. Thanks for watching Lowbrow Fishing. We'll catch you in the next one.